I just don't have the time to get in shape. The excuse of all excuses. If you've ever told yourself that you don't have the time to get in shape, you've got too much going on at work, you don't have time to track your food or meal prep properly, you don't have time to get your training done, you don't have time to get your steps in, and you feel overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that you need to be doing to be getting in shape, then I am going to explain to you in this video how being busy is not the thing that is stopping you. It's not time that is a problem. And I'm going to show you the exact methods that I use with myself and with my clients that help you break free of the limiting belief that you don't have enough time to get in shape, because you do. And recently I've had to battle with telling myself the exact same lie, because I am in the thick of it. Me and Holly just bought our first house and it has presented me with a severe lack of time. In between moving and sorting and painting and decorating, I have still been working a full-time job as a PT. I've been managing all my clients, I've been running my business, I've been running my social media. And on top of all of this, the work don't stop. We're still trying to get shredded this year. I'm nearly 30 pounds down so far this year. I'll put some physique updates on the screen now. And I reckon I've probably got another 10 or 15 pounds to go before I get into the condition that I want. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I am managing that and exactly what I'm doing to stay on track with still getting shredded whilst being in probably the busiest time I've ever experienced in my life. You can see the house is a little bit of a tip at the moment. We got shit all over the place. We've been painting. Got a big, thick layer of green paint on the ceiling there. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And then this morning we got the new sofa delivered, which we're super happy with. What do we think of that? Yeah, buzzing with it, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, getting all of this stuff done has made me super, super busy. It's been hard work, to be honest, managing everything at the same time. But something that I think is super important, right, is knowing your destination. You wouldn't set out on a journey nowadays, like a long distance journey, without setting the sat nav, because we want to get there in the quickest and most efficient way possible. We want to avoid the traffic, we want to avoid road closures, we want to save the most petrol. And that is exactly the same with getting in shape or trying to get lean. Before we set out on the journey, we need to know exactly what we're aiming at. We need to know what the goal is and what is required of us to be getting there. So we need to know exactly how many calories we need. We need to know exactly how much we need to be expending. We need to know exactly how much we're training. All of these kind of things are the exact thing that you want to set up and the parameters that you need to know before you set out on your journey to get in shape. And that is exactly what my free diet setup tool does for you. If you just put in a few inputs about where you're currently at, your age, height, weight, training status, experience with tracking, my diet setup calculator will calculate exactly the numbers that you need. And most importantly, it is specific to you. I spent a long time inputting my coaching brain into this tool so that when it calculates your numbers, it is based on exactly how I would be doing the programming for you. I'll put the link in the description below to use that. It's completely free. Go check it out. So the thing is, it's not really that you don't actually have the time and shape. We always have enough time. There is loads of time in the day. It's about having better time management and prioritizing your time better. And this is something that everyone can be better at, something that I need to be better at as well. Now, I've been getting in shape and working on healthy habits around training, nutrition, all of that for years. So I've built habits that allow me to implement these things into my life, and it becomes routine, it becomes habit, it becomes easy for me. But I can still be better at it in other areas of life, like business. It's been a while since I uploaded on the YouTube because I don't yet have the habits built that make it easy for me to create content and do the things that I need to do in business. So that is what I'm working on being better at the moment. And that's exactly why I'm here making a YouTube video at 5:30 in the morning while I'm out walking around Bottom Boat. Number one thing for me in building better habits, better relationship with the healthy habits that you need to be doing to get in shape is getting up early. Now, some people think it's wild that I get up at 5 a.m. or have an alarm for like 4:30 a.m. and get up early and go out for a walk. But I genuinely think that it's such a game changer, and it's one of the things that can move you so much further forward to being productive. Plus, look how gorgeous it is and how lucky I am to be able to wake up in Stanley Wakefield Bottom Boat, where I've just moved to, and go out for a morning walk. But honestly, it is such a game changer, and it sets you up so much more for a productive day. When we're trying to get shredded, we of course need to get our expenditure up. We need to get more steps in. And
the best way to do that is to just go and box it off first thing. When you manage your time better, so that the first thing you do is getting up and going and get a bunch of steps in, well, you're not playing catch up for the rest of the day. I've been there before where I've not managed my time so well earlier on in the day, or I've woken up later and I need to go and get stuff done straight away, and it just leaves you playing catch up, and it just makes it harder to tick that box further on in the day if you're playing catch up with your steps. But not only is it super important for your expenditure and getting your steps in, I just think it's super helpful for your psychology in setting you up for a good day. Your brain likes it. It likes to get outside and see the sunlight first thing. It sets your circadian rhythm. And when you smell the fresh air, you just feel so much better. Now, not everyone is as lucky as I am to live in such a gorgeous location where you can step outside and you don't really hear any cars. It's just fields and birds tweeting and shit like that. But even, I've only just moved here, even when I was living back in the city, I would still do the same thing. It's still just a good thing to get outdoors and see the sunlight and feel the sunlight on your skin. Like I said, if we have a goal that we're trying to get to, we have a destination, we need to know the direction that we're going in. So we want to be tracking stuff. We want to be tracking body weight, calories, etc. So when you wake up early, that is, again, it's just a great opportunity to be doing that. So obviously, if you're wanting to track your body weight accurately, then that needs to be like first thing in the morning. When you're fasted, you get up, you go to the toilet, weigh yourself. So again, doing that early and tracking it from early means that you're less likely to forget, less likely to have to be playing catch up later on in the day. What I do is I wake up, weigh myself, log that, then I log my calories on the same spreadsheet from yesterday, and then it just doesn't get missed. Doing stuff early means that you don't forget and stuff doesn't get missed. And when stuff starts to get missed, that's when you start to have a lack of data or a lack of accurate data. And when you don't have that data, everything becomes less predictable. My weight loss, or whatever phase that I'm trying to be in at the moment, is so predictable because for the last 2 years, I've just tracked everything. I've built these habits of tracking everything. So I know exactly how much food I need to be eating, how much expenditure I need to be expending to hit a certain rate of loss. And it's very predictable for me. So when it becomes predictable, when you have predictable data, you can't really fail. Do you know what I mean? I am also a big fan of just going to the gym early. I've always been an early morning trainer. Now I get that some people probably ain't early morning trainers and would prefer to be training in the middle of the day or in the evening when they've had a bit of food in them. But I like to go with just a small meal in the belly. And I just, again, think it feels so much more productive for me. Go and get it boxed off straight away. It means you're less likely to end up playing catch up and not wanting to go after work. Do you know, if you've been to work, it can feel long to be going to the gym straight after that. Whereas if you go and get it boxed off straight away, you're motivated, your motivation and testosterone can be higher in the morning. Makes sense to me, makes sense to be the best time to be going to the train. The gym is less busy. But when you go and get your training box off early, you are building more of a productive day. You're ticking that box early on and making your day more and more productive and having that compound over time, making it more likely to do the things that you need to be doing to get in the shape that you're trying to get in.
So to break free of the limiting belief that time is the issue for you, you need to flip it and instead frame it as, I need to just manage my time better. Now, like I said, that starts, I think, with getting up early, and that is a big one for me. But the second thing that we can do, and the most important thing for getting in shape realistically, is what your nutrition is doing. If you're trying to get lean, all that actually matters is calories in and calories out. So that's what we need to be on top of. So time management around food is probably, out of all of these things, the most important thing. So here I'll give you a few of the methods that I use to stay on track and manage my time around my food so that I know that my food is locked when I'm trying to get lean. Now, historically, I've always just been a flexible dieter. I've kind of just followed an if it fits your macros kind of approach, and I would just track all my food and kind of eat whatever. But recently, during the house move, because I've been super busy, I have been following a meal plan. Now, I don't know if following a meal plan is a really good long-term strategy because it doesn't give you
the kind of flexibility that we want in just like everyday life. But when you have an objective and when you are limited on time, following a meal plan removes a lot of friction around your diet. When we follow a meal plan, we know exactly what we need. If you've calculated your calories correctly using my diet setup calculator, then you just know exactly what you're going to eat, and it just takes away a lot of the thinking, because it's not a time issue, it can just be a decision issue. If you need help creating a meal plan, get in touch, man. I've got the link in the description below to get in touch for coaching services, so that's definitely something I can help you with. Now, something that I use with a lot of my clients is semi-structured meal planning. I understand that a lot of people don't want to follow a rigid meal plan, and they want to be able to enjoy some freedom around food. So if we use semi-structured meal planning, then that allows that. It gives them structure but flexibility at the same time. So a semi-structured meal plan for me is basically for 1 or 2 meals of a day, you do eat the same food. You follow half a meal plan basically. So let's say breakfast, you just have a couple of options. You have a Greek yogurt bowl or scrambled eggs on toast, depending on what you're doing, depending on what you fancy on the day. When you know that they're your 2 meals and they are nutritious, they're in alignment with your goals. You know the exact amounts of the food that you're including in them. You know they hit your protein. You know you can prep them without any friction. It becomes a lot easier to execute. If you can be doing that for, let's say, 2 meals per day, so you've got your breakfast locked, and that's an easy morning prep, and then you commit some time, as I said, doing meal prep on a Sunday or something like that, to at least making one other meal for the day, then you've got a lot of your meals boxed off for the week. Let's say the average person eats 3 meals a day. If 2 of them are already covered and you're covering the majority of your protein in them meals, then it makes it a lot easier to execute, and it makes it a lot harder to fail basically, because you've already covered with the food that you've already prepped. Now, another thing that we want to be doing is bulk cooking. Like when you just make 1 meal, then you're not being efficient with your time. Every time you cook, something that I like to implement, and again encourage my clients to implement, is cook once, eat twice, or eat 4 times. So let's say you're having whatever for dinner, bolognese, I don't know, whatever you're making, just make multiple portions of it and weigh it all up. It can even make it easier to track. Let's say you don't want to be weighing your food, which I think you should be, because again, if we really want to be accurate with it, we want to be weighing everything. But let's say you're a busy person and you ain't got time to be weighing your food. Well, if you buy, for instance, a 500 gram pack of beef and you split that across 4 meals, well, you know you've got 4 125 gram portions. So if you can be doing that, if you can be implementing bulk cooking, you are going to make your life a lot easier. You're always just going to have meals in the bank ready to eat. And every meal that you eat doesn't have to be some gourmet chef meal that spent hours of you toiling in the kitchen with hundreds of different ingredients. It is very simple. Buy yourself an air fryer, right? And just live off that. I use my air fryer every day. I haven't even had a microwave in the last 2 years in the old flat because we didn't have enough space. And I could just rely on my air fryer. And honestly, at least 50-60% of the food that I eat was just air fried food that was made earlier on in the week, put in the fridge, taken out the fridge whenever I'm ready to eat it. So I would literally just go to Tesco's, buy a bunch of chicken. You don't need to be a culinary master to know loads about seasoning. I get these things, right? Yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, but you can get them from like the Tesco's. Something like this, it's like a pre-prepped thing. This is a chicken gyros flavor. This one's banging. If you just use stuff like that, throw it all over your chicken, throw it in the air fryer, then you've got a bunch of chicken. It literally took 2 minutes to prep. And then you've got a bunch of protein. All you then need to do is mix it with whatever you want. If you're trying to get lean, just throw it with a bit of veg, maybe a carb sauce. For your higher carb meals, maybe a salad, whatever. If you've got all that protein prepped in the fridge, then you're laughing. Meal prep also doesn't have to be some laborious task. It's not about bulk prepping on a Sunday. It's about knowing what you're going to eat and being prepared with your meals. So if you're busy as hell, then you don't need to spend ages prepping your food. You can just literally pick stuff that is pre-prepped. Like you can buy, do you know when you go into the Sainsbury's, you can buy pre-cooked chicken, pre-sliced chicken, pre-cooked prawns. That will do. That is good, high protein food, minimally processed. You can stick that with like a wrap and a bit of lettuce. How long is the prep time on that? Again, we don't even have to be cooking. You can still pick good options of food that are just really easy to make. The main thing that makes getting leaner easier when you are strapped for time is using time efficient methods to prepare your food. When I pre-prepped all my food before the house move, I also pre-logged everything into my fitness pal, so I didn't even have to think about it. Whilst I was doing the house move, everything was already logged. I already knew my total calories for the week because I had it all sorted and all tracked already. When you don't do it straight away, when you leave it to the end of the day, that's when stuff gets missed. That's when we start being inaccurate with stuff, and that's when progress starts to slip because we're not on top of our shit. So a bit of pre-prepping and better time management around food makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, I am loving this new house, but coming out of my road is a problem. It's an absolute nightmare trying to turn right out of there, but we always get the gap, so not to worry. So yeah, the last thing that we need to make sure of, once we've covered our time management and we're making sure that we're prepping our food and being ahead of time with food, is that we're training efficiently and effectively. If you're busy, then you ain't got loads of time to be spending in the gym, but you don't need to be. Something that people often ask you as a PT is like, how long do I need to spend in the gym? And the answer is, well, how long is a piece of string? Like, there's no right or wrong answer with how long we need to spend in the gym, but it can be less than what a lot of people think. The most important thing, and this should be the most important thing anyway, regardless of whether you're busy or whether you have all the time in the world, is that you are training with quality, because that is ultimately the main thing that is gonna deliver the stimulus to the muscles to grow. So regardless of how long it takes you, quality should always be the priority when in the gym. But if we do have less time, then it becomes even more important. If we have less time, that basically looks like closer proximity to failure. The closer that we can be getting towards failure in every single set, the less work we have to do. If you are leaving a bunch of reps in the tank, the requirement for muscles to grow or even to maintain is that you need to be doing more volume. So we want to minimize the amount of volume that we're doing if we're busy. So the more that you can get out of every single set, the more efficient you are going to be in the gym. Now, in order to be efficient, when we go to the gym, we need to know exactly what we're doing. So before you even step foot in a gym, you need to have a good program sorted. Like, you can't just be going in there and picking random machines, thinking about doing this, doing that. You need to go in and have the exact plan of what you're going to do so that you can get in and out as quick as possible. So make sure that you have a good quality, well-balanced, well-designed program that you can go in and follow and execute with minimal thought and minimal friction. And if you need help with that, get in touch below. The way that I look at it, if you are strapped for time, we need to just make sure that we're covering all of our major muscle groups within that program, or at least all of our major movement patterns. So there wants to be a push, a pull, a hinge, a squat, maybe a single leg thing, so like a lunge pattern as well. And for the upper body, that would ideally also include a vertical push, a horizontal push, a vertical pull, and a horizontal pull. We want to make sure that over the course of the week we are covering all of them. We also want to be making sure that we're training everything frequently as we can. The more often that we can be training a muscle to a certain extent, the more opportunity it has to be stimulated and adapt going forward. So this is also something that we want to be considering heavily when we're building a program, is how frequently can I train a muscle. So if we are super busy and we only have 2 to 3 days per week to be training, then ideally we would be looking at some kind of full body split or like an upper lower full body, just so that everything is getting trained at least 2 times per week. Research suggests that we want to be training, or we need to be training a muscle for best results 2 times per week. It seems that there's negligible difference between 2 to 3 sessions per week. So as long as you're covering your base of getting it done twice per week, then we're good, really. I like to use an upper body, lower body split. I've followed upper body, lower body, and I've made the best progress in my whole 10 years of training following an upper body, lower body split. I would be doing an upper body, lower body split regardless of whether I was busy, whether I had all the time in the world, because I like it the most and I think that it is the most effective for me. Something that is very, very important for your training, adherence to training and making good progress is that you enjoy your program. But when I am busy, as I have been over the last couple of weeks moving the house, I've still been following the same split. The way that I've reduced the time that I've been in the gym is by simply just reducing the amount of exercises that I've been doing. So I haven't been able to do as much volume as I normally would. It's different for different muscle groups, but I'm generally aiming between 3 to 6 total sets per muscle per workout. And then if I'm doing that 2 to 3 times over the course of the week, I'm getting a very good amount of volume at a high frequency. But I haven't had the luxury of the time recently to be able to do that much. So my approach, and what I think is what everyone should be doing if they are looking to get in and out as quickly as possible, is for each muscle group, you pick just one exercise and you do it extremely well. And you send it to failure. You don't leave anything on the table for that exercise. Would it be more optimal for me to be doing more volume? Yes, very much so. And to be able to do more selection of exercise using different joint actions, just to really stimulate all different available fibers within a muscle, yes, it would be more optimal to do that. But we just got to pick the ones that are going to give us the most bang for our buck and get really good at them, leave everything on the table with them, and you are covering your bases. Something else that I have been doing as well is using supersets and intensifiers. Now again, when I have the luxury of time, I don't really like to do supersets. As I said, I like to take adequate rest in between my exercises because that gives me the best chance of performance. But when you're trying to get it done, using a superset I think is a good idea. Now I would always be making that antagonist supersets and not agonist supersets. The difference being an agonist superset is where we do a superset of 2 different exercises that use the same muscle group. So that would be like a lateral raise, for instance, and then a shoulder press. I wouldn't recommend doing that. There is not really, I think, any benefit to doing that. However, antagonist supersets, so that could be like a shoulder exercise straight into, I don't know, a back exercise or an arm exercise. That is absolutely viable, and that is something that I'm doing at the moment. So pick exercises that you can do quickly and efficiently together. Like, you don't want to pick an exercise that you have to do on a bench and then you need to walk halfway across the gym over to a different machine. But if you can get a pair of dumbbells and just do this antagonist superset on the bench, so shoulder press straight into bicep curl, or I know exactly what I'm going to do when I go into the gym here. I've got at Ultraflex, they've got the T-bar row right next to an overhead tricep machine. I will be doing that. So I'll do my set of rows, take like 5-10 seconds, get straight onto the tricep machine, blast a set of that as well. And again, if you do that, if you use an antagonist superset, you can get 6 sets of that total 13 that I'm going to do done in literally like 10 minutes. So yeah, we need to be prioritizing time in the gym. If we're busy and we don't have the luxury of time, we need to be as efficient as possible. It's also absolutely worth using intensifiers as well. Again, if we're trying to drive a little bit more stimulus, well, as much stimulus as possible into a muscle when we only have a limited opportunity of sets available to us, then it is viable to be using drop sets where we would go to failure, drop the weight a little bit, hit a couple more reps, maybe do that again, or like a myo match set. So let's say we did 15 reps on an exercise and that was 15 reps to failure, and then second set we could only achieve 11 reps. Well, if we did a myo match, that would be 11 reps, wait a few seconds, take a couple of deep breaths and get them next 4 reps out, no matter how long it takes, basically. And that is also something that I like to do when I am limited on time. If I only have 3 sets available to me, for an exercise, I often do like a myo match on that last set, just to really, again, drive as much stimulus into the muscle as I possibly can. So there's a couple of ways that when I'm in the gym, I would be prioritizing my time and making myself more efficient. Other things that we can be doing outside of the gym is, again, like I said earlier, going and getting it done early. When the gym's less busy, you can just do stuff easier, if that makes sense. But also, even just the location of your gym is important. Now, because I've just moved house, I haven't actually moved gyms yet. I'm actually going to look at a new one today, but I'm still registered at my old gym, and depending on traffic, it's like a 20-25 minute drive. I mean, I've been waffling, this video has been rolling for like 18 minutes now, so, and I'm still not there. I still got another 5-10 minutes to go. So I am not a fan of this 20-minute drive to the gym. Where I lived before, it was like 7 minutes, and that makes my life a whole lot easier. I do not like this 20-minute drive to the gym. Now, it is obviously important that you're picking a gym that you like, that's got good equipment, if that's important to you. You've got to weigh up the benefits of efficiency or conveniency over what you like. Do you know, if I do actually have a leisure centre that is like a couple minutes drive from my new house, but it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to go there. Bad vibes, bad equipment. It's just not a productive environment that I think if you're serious about your training, you're going to get some really good training done. Not that you couldn't, but I believe that your environment for training is very important. And if you want to be productive when you're in the gym, you need to like where you are. You need to have good kit. It needs to suit you. So there is a way in which I am putting more importance on the quality of the gym over the convenience. I used to train at a gym group that was literally at my old flat that was like 5 minutes down the road, and that was mega convenient. And at the time when I was less serious about my lifting, I was like, yeah, this is calm, like I can train at a gym group. But now I'm like, I hate training at a gym group or a pure gym. I'm not being a snob about it, but again, it's just bad vibes. The Matrix kit is just terrible, and I don't feel productive when I train in there. Obviously, yeah, I can go there for a session here and there and get a good session in, but I would rather not. But just pulling up to the gym now, so we are going to get it in, going to get it done rapid. I do have a little more time today, but I'm still going to train as efficiently as possible, still going to do my lifting as quickly and efficiently as possible using all them methods that I've just spoke about. But I'm actually going to box off some cardio as well. I'm going to go 20-25 minutes on the Stairmaster as well, just because we still got to be getting that in, man. Like, it is one of the things that at the moment is, if I need to drop something because I'm limited on time, it is the cardio, because I know that I can manipulate my nutrition enough to create the kind of calorie deficit that I'm trying to aim at. But if I can be doing cardio and I do have time to do cardio, then it's just creating a bigger deficit over the course of the week. So the priority, if you are trying to be efficient in getting in shape, getting lean, is always nutrition and resistance training. They are the two most important things, on top of steps as well. Because again, even if you are struggling to get high expenditure, get a high step count, then you can just manipulate your nutrition down. And then when you obviously need the training, the resistance training to support muscle growth, muscle retention, all of that. But extra steps, extra cardio on top is just donating money to the piggy bank. An analogy I often use for my clients is, when you are trying to cut weight, you're trying to reach a goal in terms of losing weight, losing fat, look at it like you're saving up for something. So the more money that you can put into the piggy bank, the quicker you're going to be able to buy the thing you're going to buy, the thing that you're going to buy being fat loss or your weight goal. So the more that you are able to do extra cardio, extra steps, the more money goes in the piggy bank. The less days that you eat in a deficit, or the less days that you fuck around and go drinking with your mates, you're taking money out of your savings account. So it is what it is, and you've got to be realistic with your time frame about it. Again, if you go and use my diet calculator, these are the kind of things that you can set up. Like, I get that not everyone wants to be locked in 100% all the time. And that just means that you're not going to reach your goal as quick. If you go in the diet setup calculator and pick, I want to be locked in the week and chill on the weekends, then it's going to spit you out a more realistic time frame. And that is my job as a coach, and what I stress to my clients a lot is that expectation management is super, super important. And that's what I aim to set with people, because you can reach a goal in any way, really. Whatever the direction you have, you can get there, but the approach that you have to it is just going to dictate potentially how long it's going to take you to get there. So if, like me, I like to be real locked in the week, but then I like to have a day or two where I'm not as strict with what I'm doing. I like to go and have a coffee and cake with Holly. I like to go out for a beer at the weekend. And I just have realistic expectations of what that is going to cause. It's going to mean that it's going to take longer for me to reach my goal. If I go out drinking at the weekend, I may not feel as productive in training the following day. But I am aware of that, and as long as you are okay with that and can accept it, then it's all good. If you want to be locked in 100% of the time, living like a monk, calorie deficit every single day, great. You're probably going to reach your goal a lot quicker than if you're messing around at the weekends a bit. But how sustainable is that? How much do you enjoy your life when you do that? Do you know, if you do that for 3 to 4 weeks, but then you just hate it so much that you sack it off, well, maybe it would have been wiser to set up a diet in a way that means that you have more flexibility around social events and around the weekends and stuff like that. So you've just got to be realistic with yourself, set realistic expectations for yourself so that you know what you're getting into and understand what is going to get you. Ultimately, all that matters is how you are going to get the result. And setting up a diet is taking into account all of the factors within someone's life and their attitude, personality, the way that they want to go about stuff, their current experience, habits, all of these kind of things, taking them all and putting them all into a pot and deciding what the best plan is that is going to achieve the result for this person. So again, that's what my job as a coach is. And if you want help doing that, taking all of these things into consideration and have someone look at it and decide what they think is the best way to get you there and guide you into getting there, whilst being able to adjust in real time to the circumstances of life, like being busy, like moving house, like having children. So yeah, if you want help with that, drop me a DM, man. I've got the link in the description below for you to reach out on WhatsApp. We can just have a chat about where you're currently at the moment and see exactly what a plan for you may look like and how we would go about getting you to being in the sickest shape of your life, getting lean, getting shredded, getting bigger, building a healthier relationship with fitness, training, food, all of these kind of things. So yeah, you know what to do. Reach out if you need help.